Anyone who visits an animal shelter sees an extraordinary number of beautiful, affectionate, desperate dogs. The majority of the animals in any particular shelter are dogs, usually adults, for whom there aren't enough adoptive homes waiting. A few may have come from responsible breeders whose owners do not realize that the breeder will take them back if there's a reason you cannot keep them. Many of those who are lost and or from owners that simply got tired of them. Some of them are pet shop puppies from puppy mills that did not meet the owner's expectation due to health, temperament, and other reasons. Since humans are the strongest species of any animal kingdom, they should do their best to help another species' life, such as for example, adopting a pet. People should adopt dogs from shelters, rescue organizations, instead of buying one because it will save a life. It can save them money and it will help to stop the production of puppy mills and the overpopulation that plagues our world. Millions of dogs are euthanized each year, which is evidence to many that there is a canine overpopulation problem. Due to this, many rescue organizations encourage dog owners to consider adoption from animal shelter in order to save a dog's life. They also point to instances of animal mistreatment in puppy mills. In this article, HSUS Pet Overpopulation Estimates, Inga Frick states that, considering the millions of dogs that are euthanized every year, adoption is the easiest and best way to save a life. Frick wants to make it known that every day at least one shelter dog is euthanized. Then, when asked about behavior and health concerns for shelter dogs, Frick responded, "Getting an animal from a breeder is no guarantee either. Shelters have been facing a pet overpopulation problem for the last few decades. Some animals are found wandering as strays, and some of them are surrendered by their owners who cannot or no longer want to care for them. In order to help reduce pet overpopulation and being part of the solution, it's important to a dog and have her sterilized." Today, adoption makes good fiscal sense because it costs far less to rescue a pet from shelter than it does to buy one from a breeder or a pet store. Costs can vary depending on where the person lives and whether the person is interested in adopting a cat or a dog. The most likely, the customer will pay more than $1,000. Why should you adopt a shelter animal? Is an article written by Emil Plessette, who says in it that depending on the age and breed of the animal, the cost does not include any health benefits or love from part of the animal. Apart from the price, people should consider that adopting from a shelter is a valuable act of love. It is a good deed for you, for the shelter, but especially for the animals who need you. Added to the pleasure of having a new companion, you'll be happy to be the one who is able to offer him or her a second chance. Frick then added to his writing, adopting or buying a pet should be the spur of the moment decision. He points out that most of the dogs are living longer now. A good example would be that house dogs used to live for an average of 7 to 10 years, and now the average is about 15. I'll remember when I adopted my first dog. I decided to go to the shelter, spend time with a pet to make sure it responded well to me. I didn't pick it up right away, but rather I let him warm up to me. I asked whether the dog is already spayed or neutered, or whether I'll be required to pay for a procedure myself. I did not want to introduce a new pet or a new dog or other pet to my pets I already have at home before a veterinarian checkup. Thus, to help identify a healthy dog, I recommended people to look for a good weight and shiny coat. Some may argue that buying a puppy from a pet shop, they are getting a healthier dog. That may seem like a good point. Many people who adopted dogs from a shelter didn't realize that some of them come with behavioral and health problems. Some mental or physical problems have a way of creeping and taking people by surprise. And it is and it is not fair to blame shelter staff for this. There are just some behavior patterns that don't manifest themselves in a short term. Shelter staff can possibly know it all. However, the reality is that buying a pet, people is supporting a puppy mill. People are supporting the puppy mill it came from and the keeping puppy mills in business, which also produces more and more puppies every year, which adds to the issue. The shelter is a spot to pick up new friends, save that cash, and open a new door to a life for one lucky pooch. In sum, adopting a dog will improve the life of both you and the pet. To conclude, people need to realize that adopting a pet will be far better than buying one from a puppy mill. People have learned that animal shelters are not as bad as they may seem and actually are trying to help save the pet's life. If we were to stop buying animals from puppy mills and start adopting them from shelters, many lives of animals could be saved by this single choice. Puppy mills would then be forced to become better equipped or stop altogether. Hopefully one day, after people are aware of these truths, they won't think twice about adopting an animal from a shelter.